to see you all here. Thank you for coming. It's a special night for the 8th grade. It's kind of strange though, everybody, because they're going to get their diplomas today, and their exams are in 2 weeks. So 8th grade, I have a challenge for you. As long as Mrs. Williams has been here, which is just a few years after Saudi left, no 8th grader has ever not made it after this ceremony. Am I correct, Mrs. Williams?
Absolutely.
So don't be the first, okay? But we've got, it's so exciting to honor our middle schoolers tonight, and we look forward to this. At the end of the year, I've said this in a couple letters to you, it's like a roller coaster. We're just going down full speed ahead right now. A lot going on, but this is an exciting night, and I'm really happy to be here. So I'd like to introduce to you the head of the middle school, who's done a terrific job. She works really hard with these kids, and if you ever want to go on a trip, she's your guide. She's your guide. But Linda Williams has been with middle school for a long time, the only middle school director, correct? Only middle school director? Yeah, that's right. She started from the beginning when we started middle school. No, not quite. Sorry? Anyway, Linda Williams, and please welcome her. Thank you.
Well, we are here tonight for this wonderful celebration, and actually all the accomplishments and things that you're going to see tonight and the rewards for hard work is just a tip of the iceberg as to what has happened this year. There's been so many goals reached, there's been so many adversities overcome. I see responsibility increasing, work ethic, and I think we're really pushing them toward being very tireless workers. And not only have they grown academically, but they've grown socially. They're assuming the responsibility for their actions. And they're planning their future. I don't know about some of you, but when I was in the 8th grade, I don't think I was planning my future at all. I was just thinking about getting out of school and what the next hurdle was. I wasn't thinking about college at this age, but I'm pleased to say that most of these kids are looking forward to their college years and making the plans it takes right now. I'm very proud of them. We've had great times this year. We've had great trips. The Chicago trip was a great success, and thank you parents that are out there that continually go with me, even though you probably don't want to. I appreciate your efforts. Tonight, we're going to start out with something a little different than we've had before. Miss Linton has started a middle school choir, and they're doing excellent work. And so they've already performed twice, and so this is going to be their 3rd time to perform. And so I'd like to turn it over to Miss Janet Linton. all middle schoolers are required to do a declamation every year. For some, this is not anything that they look forward to. However, it really prepares the kids for public speaking and to really stand on stage and express themselves. This year we had 17 that were in the preliminary contest, and of the 17, we have 6 finalists. So I'd like for them to come to the stage now. Thank you, Betsy. Our declaimers tonight: Lucy Mitchell, Dayton Hasty, Claire Beckett, Jackson Jones, Anna Allison, and Copeland Moe.
Luke chapter 6 gives advice about loving one another and judging other people. The following excerpt gives advice about loving one another and judging other people. The following excerpt tells people why we should love one another before we judge one another and before we try to fix other people. The following verses describe the golden rule and why we should follow it. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you are good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from whom you expect your payment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, expecting to be repaid in full. But love your enemies, do good to them, and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great. You will be children of the Most High, because He is kind, being grateful and wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. He also told them this parable: Can the blind lead the blind? Will they both not fall into a pit? The student is not above the teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like their teacher. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How do you say to your brother, Brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when you yourself notice the plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, then you'll see clearly through the speck from your brother's eye.
Is a Canadian spoken word poet. Most of his poems are about his own experiences. His most famous poem, to this day, is a poem about a childhood full of bullying and depression. This poem has surprisingly saved many lives from suicide. He created it as a project, hoping to save kids with the same problem. This is an excerpt from his To This Day poem. Surrounded by people who used to say that rhyme about sticks and stones. As if broken bones hurt more than the names we got called, and we got called them all. So we grew up believing that no one would ever fall in love with us. That we'd be lonely forever. That we'd never meet anyone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed. So broken heartstrings led the blues as we tried to empty ourselves so we could feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. That an ingrown life is something that surgeons can cut away, but there's no way for it to metastasize. It does. She was 8 years old on her first day of grade 3, and she got called ugly. We both got moved to the back of class so we could stop getting bombarded by spitballs. But the school halls were a battleground. We found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Because outside we had to rehearse running away or standing still like statues with no clues to we were there. In grade 5, we taped a sign at the front of her desk that read, "Beware of dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think that she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes up a little less than half of her face. Kids used to say it looked like a wrong answer, so would try to erase it, couldn't quite get the job done. But they'll never know that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom, because they see her heart before they see her skin, and they know that she's always ever been amazing.
walking home from the movie theater. His mugging was the inciting incident of the novel, and the first time he got a first-hand view of the hatred between the Sox, East Side rich kids, and his fellow greasers. In the series of events that follow, 2 of his closest friends die, and 1 of them murdered a Sox. The following excerpt is from the final stages of Honeyboy's healing process. Tell Dally. It was too late to tell Dally. Would he have listened? I doubted it. Suddenly, it wasn't only a personal thing to me. I could picture hundreds and hundreds of boys living on the wrong sides of cities. Boys with black eyes who jumped at their own shadows. I could see boys, hundreds and hundreds of boys who watched sunsets and looked at stars and ached for something better. I could see boys going down under streetlights because they were mean and tough and hated the world, and it was too late to tell them that there was still goodness, and they wouldn't believe you even if you did. It was too vast a problem to be just a personal thing. There should be some help. Someone should tell them before it was too late. Someone should tell their side of the story. And maybe people would understand then and wouldn't be so quick to judge a boy by the amount of hair old he wore. It was important to me. I picked up the phone and called my English teacher. Mr. Stein, this is Honeyboy. That theme. How long can it be? Why, not less than 5 pages. He sounded a little surprised. I'd forgotten it was late at night. Can it be longer? Certainly, Honeyboy, as long as you want. Thanks, I said, and hung up. I sat down and picked up my pen and thought for a minute. Remembering a handsome, dark boy with a reckless grin and a hot temper. A tough, tow-headed boy with a cigarette in his mouth and a bitter grin on his hard face. Remembering. And this time it didn't hurt. A quiet, defeated-looking 16-year-old whose hair needed cutting badly and who had black eyes with a frightened expression to them. 1 week had taken all 3 of them. And I decided I could tell people, beginning with my English teacher. I wondered for a long time how to start that theme, how to start writing about something that was important to me. And I finally began like this. When I stepped out into the bright sunlight from the darkness of the movie house, I only had 2 things on my mind. Paul Newman and a rhino.
Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Force is a popular book for many of our childhoods and even some of our parents' childhoods. It tells the story of a little boy who is having a very bad day, from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to sleep, and he realizes that some days are just bad days. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed, I took on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running. And I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a jean undercover coat ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. At school, Miss Dickens had false pictures of the sailboat went to my picture of the Indian castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? And I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Barker was his best friend, and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend, and that I was only his 3rd best friend. I hope you sent our attack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream cart falls off the cone cart and lands in Australia. When we picked up my dad in his office, he said I couldn't play with this copy machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, except for my elbow. He also said not to fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limers. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot, I got soap in my eyes, and my marble went down the drain. I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, and and not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says Sundays are like that, even in Australia. This speech was delivered in 1873 by Susan B. Anthony after she was arrested for voting in the 1872 presidential election. Anthony dedicated most of her life to supporting women's suffrage. In the following excerpt, she explains that it is unjust that women cannot vote, but that men can. Her goal of women's suffrage was achieved in 1919 when Congress passed the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, giving women the right to vote. Friends and fellow citizens, I stand before you tonight under indictment for the alleged crime of having voted at the last presidential election without having the lawful right to vote. It shall be my work this evening to prove to you that in thus voting, I not only committed no crime, but instead simply exercised my citizens' rights guaranteed to me and all United States citizens by the national Constitution beyond the power of any state to deny. The preamble of the federal Constitution says, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." It was we the people, not we the white male citizens, nor yet we the male citizens, but we, the whole people, to form the union. And we formed it, not to give the blessings of liberty, but to secure them. Not to the half of ourselves and the half of our posterity, but to the whole people, women as well as men. And it is a downright mockery to talk to women of their enjoyment of the blessings of liberty, while they are denied the use of the only means of securing them, provided by this democratic Republican government, the ballot. For any state to make sex a qualification that must ever result in the disfranchisement of one entire half of the people is to pass a bill of attainder or an ex post facto law, and is therefore a violation of the sacred law of the land. By it, the blessings of liberty are forever withheld from women and their female posterity.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy, better known as JFK, was born in Brookline, Massachusetts on May 29, 1917, and he was the youngest president ever to be elected for office. He delivered his famous speech, the inaugural address, on January 20, 1961. It is an energetic and emotional speech. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than in mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans have been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty, the graves of young Americans who answered the call to service around the world. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, the arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it, and the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us here the same high standards of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history, the final judge of our deeds. Let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking his blessing His help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
Would you like to escort them off the stage?
I'm pleased to recognize the winners of the Declamation contest. All 6 contestants did a wonderful job. In 3rd place, Jackson Jones. In 2nd place, Dayton Hasty. And your winner of the Declamation contest, Hannah Allison.